Hello, friends. Welcome to How She Owns It, a podcast dedicated to female entrepreneurs and boss moms who left their 9 to 5 to own their time, their finances, and their joy in life by building their own businesses. In this episode, I am super excited to introduce the guest, the beautiful Barbie from Cinderella Brides. Welcome to the show, Barbie, and tell us all about yourself.
Hello, Pauline. Thank you so much for having me on today. And I'm super excited to share with you my journey with, leaving my 9 to 5 job, starting my side hustle and, eventually replacing my 9 to 5 with my side hustle. And, as you know, I'm in the beauty industry. My company is called Cinderella Brides. We've been in the business for about 15 years now. And we specialize in the South Asian bridal luxury market for all things beauty. So it could be makeup, hair, outfit styling. We have recommendations for even artists that do henna. Some of our artists also do henna. So, we do anything that deals with, creating like the perfect bride and the bridal looks for all of our brides events, because Indian weddings, they have multiple events. So,
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of what we're focused on. And I would love to share with you. Tell me what I can answer for you.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And, I think that I don't know anything about the wedding industry, but I know it's like a multi-billion-dollar industry. So
Yep.
I'm super excited to learn more about it. But I would love to just kind of go back, and you're a fellow ex-tech corporate person. And, it's really interesting how you went from working in tech to starting your own beauty business. It's a bit of a jump. So tell us a little bit how you started and what made you go towards beauty as opposed to, I don't know, just becoming another tech consultant or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was working my 9 to 5. I was in the information services industry. So I dealt with very, very large investment banks and corporate clients in the New York City area. And it was a great job. I mean, I worked from home. I had a corporate expense account. I had a corporate credit card. I got to travel. It was like, if for someone that wanted to work for someone else and have that 9 to 5 lifestyle, it's a perfect type of, opportunity. I feel like I have the ability and I always had the desire to own my own time. So reporting to someone, giving them, like what I did the last week, I just felt like I wanted to be my own boss. And
Absolutely.
I was getting married at the time. This is, going on. I was getting married. I'm married almost 17 years now, so a long time ago. And I was getting married at the time, and I had a really difficult time finding a makeup artist. And so I went to multiple trials, and I ended up doing my own makeup between the help of my sister and my friend. I ended up doing my own makeup for the big day. And what I realized is that, this is something that's lacking. There's not a lot of like makeup artists that can work with brown skin tones. And so, I was also in grad school at the time. So what I decided to do was like, I was just wanted to make extra money. So I started selling skincare, and that skincare company had a makeup training program. So I went ahead and I got kind of certified through that skincare company, to sell skincare products and sell makeup products and get like educated on how to use the products. And I just started my business. Slowly started, working with a lot of just friends, family, people around me. And little by little, the word spread that this is what I do on the side. I struggled a lot because I looked initially for a mentor or someone that would be willing to like help me or take me under their wing and teach me how they do what they do as far as becoming successful with beauty, makeup, and hair. And I found that a lot of artists were not open to training other people. They just, felt very intimidated. There was not that openness or, empowering of each other. And so I
Right.
vowed to myself years ago that, when I started my business, I would empower other women and I would help
Yeah.
them and even men. It doesn't matter because we do
Mhm.
have even a guy makeup artist on our team. I would empower them and help them to become successful and train them and educate them in everything that I knew without holding any information back.
I love
And
that. I love
that's
that.
kind of how my business started. And so I never started with the I in mind. I started with the we in mind. And that's hence
Mhm.
Cinderella Brides versus naming the business like Makeup by Barbie or whatever, and that's kind of how I built it. And having a business background, having that corporate background, having studied, business even in grad school, I figured out how to and start a business that would, multiply and magnify, which would duplicate my efforts and my time versus me being the only one putting in the time and effort.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important. In a previous episode as well that I recorded with someone who's from an Indian background as well, I think with a lot of Asian cultures, we're really huge on community. And,
Right.
And it's the same in African cultures as well. We're really big on community, and we know that, no man is an island, and to be able to scale, you really need to grow. And I found this out with my own experience with scale. I've been recently scaling up, even though
Okay.
I am, this is a particularly new business. I
Right.
just said, I need to hire. If I want to scale at the speed that I want to, I need to hire. And I think a lot of women feel like, oh, well, I need to hit this certain revenue or hit this certain point in the business before I can even take someone on board in, when actually you need to hire and outsource things, and so you can
Right.
focus on the strategy. So yeah, that's really great to hear. And I love your ethos about, mentorship. It's so, so important. And I think when you're outside of a corporation and you don't have those corporate structures that has like that mentorship networking programs that most graduates enter in, and they get trained up and have a partner mentor, it's so important that businesses, especially small businesses, small business owners, really take the onus to train trainees, and have that kind of support system built in from the very beginning. So that's, kudos to you for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm sure that, it was difficult trying to balance a 9 to 5 and your side hustle. At what point did you realize, actually, I just want to quit my corporate job, and I'm ready to go full in on the beauty business?
I mean, I think that a lot of times people work backward where they're like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what's going to make me happy. Let me just quit my job and do what makes me happy. And at the end of the day, I think that true happiness really comes from not only the skill and what you're doing, but also the ability to earn money, because money, I know that people say, oh, money can't buy happiness. Yeah, you can't be happy with money, but money can give you opportunities to do things.
Mhm.
And so I decided not to quit my 9 to 5 job for a really long time because I needed that money to like pay my bills
Mhm.
and sustain my lifestyle. And in the meantime, I was working towards growing my business. And so I gave up a lot of things. The other thing is, if you're going to start a side hustle, don't think you can have your side hustle, you can have your girls nights, you can have your movie time, you can go hang out and shop, you can go to your gym, and then you can have your side hustle. You have to give certain things up for a
Mhm.
temporary period of time until you achieve the goals that you want to accomplish. And so I realized, like, I worked my 9 to 5 and I was going to make sure I did a damn good job at it. So when I left, they would be sad that I left.
Yeah.
Been taking away from my 9 to 5. And then on the flip side, I would, in the nights and evenings, I would sit in my office, I would close the door, and I would start calling. I would start doing, whether it's putting pictures together, social media, whatever it was. Like, I was willing to invest my nights and my weekends into working my side hustle. And that's really the beauty business is. It's, when you're doing in weddings, right? A lot of times you're meeting people during the weekday evenings after they finish work for trials and appointments, even consult phone calls. And then on the weekends, you're working their weddings. So I was literally for a long time working 7 days a week. And
Yeah.
I just knew that, there's always there's an end in sight. There's not like, you're
Yeah.
not going to do this forever, but it's okay to do this a few months at a time to like really start to accelerate your goals of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I don't think
Mhm.
initially I ever thought that I was going to quit my job. It was just a fun thing on the side, which I knew
Mm.
turned into a business. And as I started seeing the possibilities and the revenue growing, and, I did use a lot of social media also to grow
Mhm.
my business. It really, like, the referrals and the leads, it just, it got to a point where we were doing really well. And it was, time to focus fully on this business and other ventures instead of just my 9 to 5, because when you also work for a 9 to 5, a lot of your creativity, a lot of your time is zapped into what you're doing for your boss, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that a lot of my clients as well, they
Mhm.
start to realize that when they decide to scale, they need other people, and they need to bring someone in to manage those people that they've hired. And
Exactly.
then they start to realize, actually, I haven't got any procedures in place, and I feel so swamped. Like, their mental health, they start to burn out, and it's like they're back in corporate again. And which is
Exactly.
completely not the goal when they wanted to start their own venture.
Exactly.
um so yeah, absolutely, I think it's really important to understand that there are seasons of, you have to plant roots. Like right now during COVID, everyone's kind of, it's a great time to just work on your online business, like be at home,
Right.
build your business.
Mhm.
And then once all the leisure stuff in hospitality is open again, then you can kind of let go of the reins a little bit and stop being a bit of a workaholic. But then you've got the systems in place that you were, it's like the grasshopper or whatever, like putting food away for the winter kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like I've even during COVID, I've just spent so much time working. Like I
Mm.
didn't have the type of work that I normally would, but I spent so much time working on my business
Yeah. Yeah.
strategy, my back end. We even launched a product during COVID. I launched our signature Cinderella lashes. So we launched 5 different varieties of faux mink lashes, very high quality luxury lashes to have for our brides when we do their weddings, and also to sell online. So I learned how to create a Shopify, add it to my Squarespace website,
Yeah.
add it to my Instagram account for shopping and Facebook. So
Yeah.
and
Love it.
then so you just have to make do with the time that you have and really
Absolutely.
put that effort in. I think we live once. We should try it. If we want it, if we have it, that seed planted in our mind, then we need to go and pursue that.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. So I found out a little bit about your journey now. Now, I always like to keep this podcast super, it's almost like my mentorship to the world.
I love it.
And I like to keep it educational. So with my coaches, they tend to do a live session with me in the podcast, but you're
Mhm.
not a coach, so you can be our business mentor for today.
Sure.
And for our listeners, it would be, if our listeners are listening to this thinking, I want to get into the business of beauty, and
Uh-huh.
I want to know that when I hire someone in the wedding industry, they're legit. They're not just, after my money,
Mhm.
and I'm actually vetting right.
Right,
So
right.
with those two listeners in mind, I'm sure some listeners are planning their wedding at some point.
Right.
Um, can you give us sort of like some advice, some mentorship on how to build a successful beauty business, or how to break through into the beauty
Yeah,
business?
yeah. I mean, I think we just actually, if you head over to our blog on cinderellabrides.com, we just published a blog on marketing tips that every makeup artist or beauty professional needs to know. And so I really strongly believe that if you take 100%, I think that 50% or maybe even more, 60, 70% is marketing and 30% is your craft. Now, let's not say if you're a terrible makeup artist, eventually that will catch up to you.
Yeah.
Eventually, if you're a terrible stylist, all the best marketing in the world is not going to help that. So you do have to perfect and build your craft, your skills.
Yeah.
But the other flip side is your marketing. And your marketing is not just, it's your marketing and your branding. It's your
Mm-hmm.
professional presence of your website. I invested thousands of dollars in throughout the years to continually upgrade my website. Okay. And I did that. We just launched a new website this January. We didn't know COVID was going to hit. We just launched because I knew the website was like 3 years old. It was time to like update it. And I invested dollars to do that. I invested time to do that. In addition to that, all of your social media presence and handles, continually updating your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your Pinterest. We're on every social platform, whether it's your TikTok, like we use a little bit of everything. We publish YouTube channels. So it's that all is, creating content, you're creating content, but that's all your marketing. Okay. Taking good professional pictures, before and after pictures, whether you have an iPhone or whether you have a professional DSLR camera, you need to make sure that you're curating a good portfolio. Again, it falls into that marketing bucket, right? So all of that, having that piece of your business together, and maybe you're just starting out, you need to get out there and recruit people, do their makeup or their hair or whatever it is for free. Don't charge them. Take a good before, take a good after, put it together, put in the time and the work. For years and years and years before even my business grew to the point it is, I had partnered with like a photographer, and he needed work for his portfolio. I needed more work for my portfolio. So we simultaneously would get women that had beautiful features, or we could do like makeup and hair. I could do their makeup and hair. He could professionally photograph them, and I did that hundreds of times. And so it's about taking that time and that effort into really showcasing what you can do. Again, that's all falling into your marketing bucket. So I would say if you're a new professional thinking about getting into the beauty industry, yeah, it's great to start your social media platform. Be careful of the what you put out there. Carefully select the right images. Don't just throw up anything to show it's your work and that you have enough to fill your portfolio or your Instagram profile or whatnot. Make sure you pick and carefully select and curate good content that's going to show the best side of your work. um, Aside from that, I think it's just having your business side of things together. And that's why I'm working on launching a course, because I feel like there's a lot of gaps in people that go into the beauty industry thinking that they can make it, but they don't realize you really need to know business in order to succeed at anything. I think marketing is going to be something that you have to know in any industry that you're in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially the beauty industry.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because like talent is talent. And obviously you always have to have a great product when you're launching or that you're putting out into the market, into your consumers. But if you don't market it right and you don't have your branding, positioning, your ideal clients honed in, sorry, this is my user experience like background coming in, then you're definitely losing a lot of money because you're not getting it in front of the right audience. Like I'm assisting a client right now that's launching an online course, which is all about brand positioning and messaging and really speaking to your clients. And I'm learning so much about PR as well, which is another kind of subset of it. And I think it's so important because if you can create the best product, you can do the best marketing ideas, but if your marketing channels is not fit to your ideal client, oh my goodness, you are losing so much revenue.
Right, exactly. And it's funny that you say PR, because right now we're working on a PR guide for beauty, like for something that they can use to figure out how they can have good PR and press and increase their brand awareness and their personal brand or their business brand. So that's going to be something part of the course.
Yeah, amazing. PR is so like amazing, and I think people get PR confused with advertising a lot. There's so much misconception about PR, and the more I get to know about PR, and I've just hired a PR expert who used to work with like political campaigns and stuff, and I'm learning so much from her, and she's actually doing a masterclass for the rest of the team this weekend. And it's just I'm really big on my being educational and stuff to my team and really growth, and I was like, well, you're a PR expert. We don't know anything about the PR. And, this this podcast hasn't launched yet. So I'm like, team, everyone in the team, we all got to learn how to do PR because we're going to PR, the crap out of this podcast. So everyone needs to know how to do at least a little bit. So we have that coming up. And yeah, the more I learn about PR, the more it's like, oh, it's a really, really powerful tool. And, try to get to Forbes one day. And it's amazing. Yeah.
I actually recorded a podcast for Forbes a couple of years ago, and it was called Two Inboxes. And it was about having two inboxes. This was before I quit my corporate job. So it was like about 3 years ago. And it was about how you maintain a side hustle and how you maintain your day job. So the 9 to 5, and then the whatever, 6 to whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's amazing. So I'm sure that you've done very well, and you've built up a great team, built up a great agency. I'm sure that there's also been a lot of challenges along the way. So what have been kind of your hard-earned lessons on this journey of entrepreneurship?
I think one of my business mentors, she told me once, you want to start with the end in mind. And so the way you set up your business, you really want to first think about what the long-term vision is for your business. And then you want to work backward versus trying to figure it out along the way. That way, the decisions you make early on, they're going to help you to get to that end goal, right? And so I think that having all your legality, your contracts and your confidentiality statements and all your business processes in place before you actually start a business is going to be super important. So if the solo artist is hairstylist or makeup artist is listening to this, or maybe someone that eventually wants to build a team, the advice is kind of the same for you. You want to invest into a good lawyer, a good accountant. You want to set up your business bank account and your LLC. You want to make sure you create all that initially, so you don't have to kind of stumble along the way and do it when you could have maybe saved yourself tons of money or tons of time, if had you done it very, very early on. So really just not being afraid. Like I am a strong believer in education and also in investing, before you earn. I think you have to invest money to make money in
Yeah.
anything that you're going to do. So whether it's your knowledge of how that, this business is going to work or whatnot, or you're hiring a professional that's going to be able to help you, those are your key players that you need to have in place before you start your business. So I think that that's something that I didn't do early on. Nobody told me that. I just was like, this was like, oh, it's a fun thing on the side. And it evolved into something much bigger. And so had I had those processes in place, I probably would have saved myself some tons of money and tons of time. But that's why I'm here sharing the story now with other people.
Absolutely, yeah. I wholeheartedly agree because I invested a lot in kind of courses to really upskill, and I realized that a lot of the things I wanted to improve upon as well is mindset. So I
Right.
actually hired and joined an accelerator program, like a business coach as well, so that I'm able to check my mindset and really get that mindset right, because it's such a huge transition from being an employee to being employee to being an employer slash
Right.
founder.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest, most surprising thing. It's been a really interesting journey, and I think I really agree with you by starting with the end in mind, and having that higher vision, because as a startup owner, like, there's always something. It's like you think you finish it, but there's always another problem coming your way. It's like,
Exactly.
so I think having that higher vision really helps you to keep going, if that makes
Right.
sense. Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Amazing. So what's your favorite thing in your business so far that you've done?
I love the reveal part when my brides get to see their final finished look.
Right.
Um, and then they're just like, "Oh my God, I love it. I feel amazing." Just giving them that confidence to walk down the aisle and, marry the person that they love, but they just feel like just like their best self, the best version of their self, I think is one of my favorite things. The other thing is I love doing destination weddings and traveling. I put a lot of that on hold before because I was, raising my kids. They were little
Mm-hmm.
and now they're a little bit older. They're a little bit more independent. They can even travel with me if I wanted them to. And so being able to just change into a different environment and do like destination weddings, go, to different countries or, different states here in the United States or even out of the country has just been really cool because, you get to experience different cultures. You get to experience different ways people do things. We recently attended a wedding in India and it was my family member's wedding, but it was just really awesome just to see how, they do weddings there versus how we do weddings here. And so, I think those are my two favorite things.
Yeah. Do you have international clients? And one of the things that I just realized I should ask you is, what are the differences between all the international clients? Because obviously different cultures kind of have different set of expectations and kind of, like you said,
Absolutely.
different ways of doing a wedding.
Yeah, I mean, we do have international clients that will maybe they live in other countries or, like the wedding I did, my cousin married someone that lived there. So their style is just a little bit different. I feel like there is a classic look for a lot of Indian brides that, they kind of all lean towards, but some want, certain cultures they want less makeup. So I think that question could be better answered even by our different types of brides that we service, because even within one country we have hundreds of different dialects, multiple different states, and
Mm.
different ways, even just in the one state country of India where people get married. So your northern Indians have a certain ceremonies and traditions that are very different from the southern Indians who, maybe those brides get married in a white dress with a Christian ceremony, and they change into a sari for their reception, versus our northern brides who wear a red and white langa or a pink langa or just all red and or different colors. These days they choose different things, but they tend to have that as their ceremony look. They get married underneath what's called a mandap, and then the reception they change into a different outfit. So I think the styles and the unique ways that people get married also impact their looks.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a white dress bride, your hair tends to be down, it's softer, you don't have a lot going on. Where or a full lenga Indian Hindu bride, wears a lot heavier outfits, a lot of jewelry adorning the head and all over the neck and the hands and everything, which is gonna call for a little bit more of a heavier application of makeup versus our South Indian brides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. That's so fascinating to me because obviously my background is in anthropology. So
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always found it fascinating how different kind of ceremonies are celebrated with
Yeah.
these nuances are all over the world. I'm sure a lot of our listeners would love to know about weddings tend to be very stressful. My sister's wedding was certainly very stressful. She also had a destination wedding. Did you ever
Where was your sister's
in
wedding?
Spain?
Mm.
She's married to a Spanish person.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit mental because they actually live in America. So, you know, we all flew from like Europe. Her bridesmaid were like from Asia and Europe, and then it was in Spain. So it was all a bit mental trying to coordinate everything. But I'd love to know kind of like, has there ever been a very stressful time and how did you deal with it? Because I feel like I mean, the only thing I can think of in the wedding industry is kind of what I watched in like Jennifer Lopez films when she's like a wedding planner. So like, have you ever had a situation where, you know, like it was quite close or like any, you know, I don't know, like any craziness of the wedding?
Yeah, I mean, I have had a bride that was really sick on the morning of her wedding, where I think she had food poisoning from eating some
Oh my
pizza that
goodness.
and so she was sweaty. She couldn't do her makeup because she was like on the bed. She couldn't. It's like she was like, and I was like, I think you have food poisoning. Like,
Oh
talk to me about
no.
what happened. And so we had to like really. Her morning pictures got delayed. Everything got delayed. She was feeling terrible. So I really couldn't work on her. But then I eventually got her into the chair. You know, we got her, you know, ready. We got her dressed. She went out. And then the family, there was doctors in the crowd, of course. So somebody ordered her some medication to help with the food poisoning, and by the evening time she felt a lot better. So there's things like that. There's family drama, family issues where people are not getting along,
Oh my
and
goodness.
so, you know, the bride's crying, this one is there's like so many.
Oh my god.
There should be a reality show around like what we do.
Oh yeah, I bet. I can imagine you being a bit of like a mother hen, just being like, oh. Oh my goodness, like touch ups and everything. Yeah, I thought I'd ask that question because I'm sure a lot of people have that in their minds because,
Yeah,
you know, like the rom-com movies that we watch tends to have
exactly.
those dramas. So it's good to
Exactly.
know that it's kind of realistic. Brilliant. So I'll ask you my favorite question, which is, what is your proudest moment in your career so far, or business so far, or in life in general?
Oh wow. I mean, I think that just being able to, you know, have grown to scale, where we, you know, provide and do over 100, 150, you know, between 100 and 150 events every single year. I feel like that is, you know, really a testament of like what you can grow to and scale to and duplicate if you actually approach and run your business like a business. So it's not like any award or anything like that. I mean, we've been featured in New York Times, some of our weddings have been featured in Grace Ormond wedding publication. We've been on Maharani. We've had some celebrity clients. So like that is all amazing. But I think just being able to go from 0 to 360 and really develop a business that the reputation precedes itself is like one of my proudest accomplishments, I feel like.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So last question. Um, if you could give advice to yourself back at the start of your journey, what would it be?
um, I guess yeah, I I can take that into like just focus on this business, or I can take that focused in life. So which one would you like me to answer? Like which way would
Oh, it's up to you. This is your wisdom you're imparting.
I think that when you approach and you build any type of business, there's different, and this is, I'm going to go to my Robert Kiyosaki, like, cause I've read so many of his books.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can either, when you're starting a business, you can either be self-employed, you can be a business owner, an investor, or an employee. I got out of the employee quadrant and I put myself in the self-employed box, which means I was trading my time for providing services, which is, you're going to make a little bit more money than you did as an employee if you do it right, which is phenomenal. But then I duplicated myself and I started becoming more in the business, the B quadrant, but still a lot of day to day. I do manage my business a lot. I have to train my staff. I have weekly meetings. Like there's lots of things that go on. So I would say build a business that is going to help for you eventually to remove yourself out of the equation, and it can
Absolutely.
still run on its own. Um,
Yeah.
and so if you can do that, then you really have succeeded. And I have not at that point yet where I can remove myself and my business will run on its own. And so, eventually I am working towards that with lots of different projects and things that I have, in the funnel. But right now, that's not where I'm at. And that's where I would love to be.
Barbie, you're like a walking advertisement for my business, which is like online business management services. So it's like standard operating procedures. So you can like train people and just leave your business alone and have a holiday in the Caribbean. I love this.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm actually going to be traveling next month to Hawaii for about 3 weeks.
amazing.
My daughters and I they're homeschooling, so I'm gonna take them, and I can take my laptop and work, for that period of time wherever I want, which is pretty awesome. So I'll still
Amazing.
do my work just at a different time zone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is like the perks. I absolutely love it. So to close off, where can people find you? Of course, everything will be in the show notes, but anything you want to plug, and where can people best find you if they want to contact you, want to plan their own weddings?
Absolutely. You can go to www.cinderellabrides.com, and that's brides with a Z at the end instead of an S. So we are on, Google, you can Google us and you'll find all of our different platforms. We're on all the social media platforms you could think of: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn. We have it all. And I think that, and YouTube too. Definitely our YouTube, because
Yep,
YouTube
this will be
is
in YouTube.
type of videos to give, like advice and tips. And we are, in the coming months, we're going to be launching a course to help all of our beauty professionals out there to learn and grow and scale their business and market themselves
Yay.
best. So
Exciting.
yeah.
Yay. Amazing. Get on the course creation train. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm doing the same thing as well with my podcasting course. So yay.
So I'm
Amazing.
excited about it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.